concept behind Emotional Machines was to use found sounds or everyday sounds that we would hear in the world instead of traditional musical instruments to create music. My inspiration came from an essay by Luigi Russolo called The Art of Noise. Beyond that, I researched Pierre Schaeffer and Pierre Henry with Musique Concrete, who through the 30s and 40s and 50s developed the idea even further. A modern day version of this idea has been explored by Armand Tobin, Brazilian sound designer, who not just uses found sounds or everyday sounds, but actually designs sounds out of everyday objects. I pretty much stuck to the idea of getting sounds that we hear every day, like in cars, buses, printers, washing machines, anything in the kitchen. I recorded everything inside the Wilkinson building as much as I could, all the air conditioning systems. And what I was trying to do was to come up with alternatives to traditional sounds that had the same timbre and same kind of sound that I could replace. I came up with 4 pieces of music, varying intensities, varying styles, BPMs, speeds. So from there, for spatial audio, I wanted to do 5.1 mixes of these 4 tracks and explore the spatial aspect of these songs even further. This included the recording of live drums and experimenting with 5-channel microphone arrays. My original idea to record the drums was to do it in the Wilkinson building overnight, in the stairwell at the Mays Crescent entrance. But it just proved too problematic, so I decided to book Studios 301, and also it gave me the opportunity to have a 5-channel monitoring system, which I thought was very important. Going into a big recording studio, having a 5-channel monitoring and a recording area big enough where I could have a 5-microphone array using a binaural head and a sound field microphone to get different variations of this theme, so that they were specifically designed for these 5.1 mixes. Also, it gave us the opportunity to have a greater range of microphones.
We might go like a... Well, if you've got a FET 47, that'd be good for the outer. Alright, oh, perfect. A 52 beta kick drum, a normal 57 on the bottom.
They're the U87s. 140s.
Really? These are an alternative for the overheads. Love these microphones. This one.
Okay.
This one. Oh god, if I was going for a rock and roll setup, this would be unreal.
184s.
I have. Oh, wow. Oh, hold on, you've even got one. What has he got, one, Tom?
Also, another thing which was fantastic about the studio is that they had impulse responses for the room itself. So when it came to applying reverb to vocals or instruments or sounds that were not from that environment, we were able to impose that space on those to give it a sense of cohesion. And I just loaded them into Space Designer within Logic Audio, and bingo, there was the sound. But my main interest was to examine how a 5-channel array in a massive room would work on a grid, using different distances between the microphones to give a larger sense of space in the room. So what we basically did was we mapped out the floor with masking tape and then measured it all out and marked it all in meters or half meters. There was 2 axes, which basically just give different angles so that the microphones would spread out in a wider angle. Axis A would be a tighter array, axis B would be a slightly larger array.
So what we're doing on the floor, this is going to be the grid where we put our microphone placement so we can actually quantify where they are instead of just throwing them around the room like most people do.
We played 8 bars of the drums and then record it and then start moving the microphones out in half-meter increments.
This will explain everything. Basically, we've got 2 axes.
Okay.
Axes, I don't know what the fucking plural is. One is this axis along here, which is kind of narrower. And then we've got the second axis. We're working on the first axis, which is the narrow one. So, we'll go to 2 meters, 3 meters, and then 4 meters. Okay.
I documented everything on axis A, axis B, and also with different microphone configurations. Now, these experiments worked very well because we could hear the results. And as the microphones went out, the sound basically got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. We also started to work with what sort of polar patterns on the microphones we should be using. In particular, omnis on the rear work better than cardioids, but on the front three, left, centre, right, cardioids work better because they focus the image at the front a lot better. We tried to use cardioid pattern at the rear, but it
didn't work. Cardioids at the rear ruin the whole the whole size of the space. So we've decided we're going to do it anyway, just so that we've got it documented, but it's more than obvious that this doesn't work. Rear omnis are much better. But
this experimentation gave me what I thought was the optimum setting for the microphones to get a sense of space. We also used the Neumann dummy head as a reference, and also the Soundfield microphone. But I wasn't as happy with the Soundfield microphone because it came from a central position. I preferred to get the 5-channel miking array to get wide so that I got this big expansive sound. After that we started recording some vocals, and we were definitely using a Dadaist approach. I used a band who I've been working with to be my guinea pigs. Just sort of because they're good singers and they're very creative people.
And she was talking to herself again. She sweat.
She sweat. Once it was
Beep beep beep. I can't hear myself.
She sweat, she felt it once. Alright, sorry.
Then they met up, and they had this disconnector.
Alright, sorry.
It's her eyes open.
Open! Open! Open!
Open!
Hang on, what was it?
Open!
Too much?
It was quite chaotic.
So this is all just new.
We were cutting up pieces of newspaper, just throwing the words in the air and then coming up with vocal rhythms. So we really didn't sort of spend too much time on concentrating on what the vocals actually were. We just wanted sounds, we wanted vowels, phonetics, and then we could manipulate that as much as we possibly could using Melodyne or Starter Edit. So with the mixing process, it was really a matter of finding out where to place the drums within the 5-channel matrix. I didn't want to particularly just stick with the drums coming out of the stereo left and right. I wanted to experiment as to where they could come out and maybe even collapse into mono or move around the room. So I've been utilising just about every process that I could possibly think of. Also the same really applies to all the found sounds and the vocals, ways of being able to artistically create something that was interesting to listen to. Most of the mixing I actually did at home through my own system. It wasn't matching speakers, but it gave me the ability to work at any time of the day or night that I wanted to. It was more just getting the overall image, artistic idea together, and then going into the surround sound studio and just fine-tuning and making sure that everything was balanced correctly. I also use Logic Audio, which is my program of choice, and then just bounced stems and then took that into Pro Tools and worked from there.